so very much. Bless you.
Stay alive, healthy. So, Mr. Azimi, could you please tell us what exactly happened?
Before I talk about the incident that happened to me, I'd like to take a moment to share my own experience, starting from just before everything unfolded, so you can better understand what led up to it. Let me go back, just for a moment, to my marriage, to my loving wife, and to the series of significant events that gradually unfolded from there, and the valuable experience I personally gained later on. For about 20 years, I have been married to a woman who means the world to me. Throughout these 2 decades together, she has given me everything I could ever ask for. Her love, her support. Even my own near-death experience, it still lingers with me even now. Its subject, the main subject, the subject is my wife. During the time when I lived under the same roof with my wife, both of us living together for a certain period of time, in various ways. Now, maybe a lot of people are like this. You know, to be honest, I sincerely hope they stop it, myself included. I behaved badly. I was ill-tempered with my wife. Which, of course, I now admit was wrong, completely wrong. It was to the extent that when I did something that my wife really didn't like, she made it very clear that she was upset with me. I could see from the look on her face and the way she spoke that she truly didn't appreciate what I had done. I really did things for which I was actually at fault. My wife would always just say, "I can't do anything to you, so I leave you to God," as I always do. That sentence of hers, I've probably heard it 1,000 times. 1,000 times.
Thousands of times. Sometimes.
I did things in my life that many people might now think, by my openly admitting this, that I was actually a really, really bad person. I was in fact very, very ill-tempered. And to be honest, I was very, very domineering. I was oppressive. But I want to say this. Everyone, in their own unique way, has a certain way of behaving in their life. But just imagine how truly wonderful it would have been if only I had treated my wife well from the very beginning. I thought being a man was about these things. I thought only the man's word mattered, you know, but that's not how it is. In life, both people's opinions, each and every one, should matter. The two should consult with each other, make decisions together, live together, simply. It's not that only the man is the one who says what must be done, and the other person just simply says, "Yes, sir." I had reached a point where, whenever I did anything at all, because my wife knew that only my word counted, she would just say, "I leave you to God." I remember often hearing that from her many times. I would always tell her, "But who has ever truly seen the afterlife?"
You always said,
Who has truly seen the afterlife? Who has ever come back with certainty to describe it in detail and say, "I went to the afterlife"? That these things actually happened in there, that the afterlife even exists. But I was one of those people who always said it doesn't exist. I would say, to be honest, who has seen the afterlife to actually come back and talk about it? But this experience that I personally had myself, I honestly wish I had experienced it much, much earlier. I just wish it had been much earlier. No, after more than 20 years of marriage, to be honest, I truly wish I had experienced it much sooner. I have always firmly stuck to my personal belief that, as far as I know, no one has ever come back to tell us about it. I even really want to share my own personal experience with everyone here today, right now. Because, honestly, I was told to share it.
There.
Yes. There, they only allowed me to return, but only on one specific condition.
Return condition?
Yes. They allowed me to come back, but only, of course, on the strict condition that I tell everyone that it exists. It really does exist.
So, about the incident then?
The incident, in fact, can be traced back to my workplace. The place where I was working at the time. We were doing some minor repairs, carpentry work. We had a scaffolding section in our process. We were working. It was at a height. After all, it was high up. That scaffolding was not properly secured, and then something truly unexpected happened to us. The scaffolding suddenly collapsed beneath me, causing me to lose my balance completely, and I fell hard on my back onto the ground. Well, after that frightening moment, we realized I needed help, so we went to get medical treatment right away, trying to see what could be done to address my injuries and make sure I was okay. Because when I fell from the scaffolding, I truly felt like I just couldn't manage to stand up on my feet anymore. It was really overwhelming.
Did you just fall off the scaffolding, or did the scaffolding fall on you as well?
The entire scaffolding didn't fall on us. Part of the scaffolding collapsed, and I fell about 4 or 5 meters onto my back. I landed on my back, but to be more specific, I hit the ground with my lower back. When I hit the ground, they took me straight to the hospital, where I was carefully looked after. In fact, they told us that I had to stay for 1 day. After I stayed for a day, they said that I would have surgery the next morning. My experience starts from here. I hope this never happens to anyone. For no one, really. I hope many people learn lesson from this. People, honestly, I'm telling you, until they see it with their own eyes, until they feel that experience,
Believe.
they won't believe it. They really, truly don't. We're only human. I truly wish we could make the very best use of each other's valuable experiences. It should be in a way that my experience becomes a lesson for you, so you don't have to go through it yourself. I experienced it. When I went in for surgery, there was a doctor standing over me. As he was about to inject the needle into my hand, I told him. I said, "Doctor, is this the anesthesia needle?" He said, "That's exactly what it is." And as soon as he said that, all I remember is that the room just suddenly spun around, and then I completely passed out. After that, I didn't understand anything. The only thing I realized was that I was actually aware of the time I was under anesthesia. I want to share this with you because I think it can really be a lesson for many people. I'll just talk about the moment I regained consciousness. I was in a lot of pain, a lot. To be honest, the pain was just so intense. The pain was so intense that all I could say was, just give me a painkiller. I just didn't want to die. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I knew I had seen some things, and they were really, truly terrifying.
When you came back?
Yes. And to be honest, I don't want to go back. I couldn't tell anyone. I thought if I said anything, everyone would say I'd gone crazy. They'd all say it's just superstition. Maybe they'd say it was the anesthesia that made me like this. Maybe they'd blame it on 1,000 other things. So I decided not to say anything. I just really wanted someone to give me a painkiller so I wouldn't die. Because I know with absolute certainty that what I saw truly happened to me while I was under anesthesia. I knew this. Honestly, I really didn't want to go back again.
You didn't want to return there, to that place that you had seen.
That I seen.
So you'd like to stay in your body?
To stay, I was, in truth, truly willing to endure that pain, to bear its weight, but not to go back. There were a lot of people around me, from my father to many others who were present there, such as friends and family. I couldn't say it to them, but if I had, that's really how it was. Maybe a lot of people would have actually told me this. They'd say, "So, what happened? What's the problem anyway?" I even thought about this, that maybe they'd label me and say I was delirious. Maybe they'd think I went to the operating room and suddenly went crazy. When I was finally discharged and released from the hospital a week later, I went to Rash. The very first person I told was my wife. As soon as we arrived, I immediately told my wife about what had happened. I said, I saw some things. And it was absolutely all about you.
He said, during the surgery I saw some things that I want to tell you about.
This is about you. I'll tell you, I saw some things that proved what you had said to me before. I used to tell her, who has seen other worlds? I told her that I went and saw them myself. To be honest, I wasn't happy that I went and saw them. No. The fact that I was able to come back and repair the things that I did. That's it. That was without a doubt the greatest and most wonderful gift that God ever gave me. He told me to come back. I just really wanted to tell my wife this, just now, so I could make it up to her. I told my wife about it. For so many years, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone at all. Recently, I saw your show.
The first season.
Well, yes, actually, the first season, I watched this show. Honestly, for almost the first 15 or 20 episodes, every time I watched your show, I would think, so other people have had these experiences of coming back too, and I didn't know about it.
Up until then, you thought only you had experienced it, but you told your wife.
Yes, that same year. I told my wife on the very first day. I kept it to myself. But your show really, honestly and truly, gave me the courage to talk about it. To share my experience with many people. If it weren't for your show, maybe I wouldn't have said anything.
Even though they had set a condition.
Yes, even though they had actually set a condition for me to talk about it. But I really, truly, absolutely didn't want to tell everyone. Not at all.
How did those few people react?
The very few people I actually ever told about it in my life. I have to say, the feedback was really good for me.
How was it? What was it like?
They said it really made them think. They didn't criticize me. Interestingly, to my surprise, they didn't criticize me at all for how I treated my wife. They would go into their own thoughts. That's how I interpreted it. I would say, well, honestly, everyone makes mistakes, after all. Maybe the person I'm telling this to hopefully hasn't made such mistakes. Maybe that person has at some point made mistakes, just like I have. Maybe by me telling them this story, it gave them a wake-up call too. When they had put me under general anesthesia, honestly, there was absolutely nothing at all around me. No equipment at all, just my bed with nothing else. Yes, just the bed where they put me under. I only saw that. It started from there, where I could only see myself from above. All of a sudden, from up there, I was just watching myself, my own face, looking pale and still, while they were operating on a round area on my back. I could see the skin had been cut open, and there was a sense of detachment, almost as if I was observing someone else. Dr. Ali Khani was standing on one side of the operating table, focused and calm, and two other doctors were standing on the other side of me, carefully assisting with the procedure, their hands moving with precision and care.
Let me mention this very important point to the dear and highly esteemed viewers. I just recently personally and directly spoke with the very respected surgeon, Dr. Ali Khani, in relation to this particular matter. Regarding this very matter, and Mr. Azimi told his experience with all the details. Dr. Ali Khani recognized him, remembered him, and recalled that surgery. I asked the doctor to confirm whether the points Mr. Azimi mentioned were accurate, and whether the tools and objects in the operating room were as he described, and whether the surgical procedure is carried out as he reports. The doctor confirmed that the operating table is indeed designed, so the face is positioned in it. For spinal surgery, we position the patient exactly as he had previously described. And the other points that Mr. Azimi mentioned were also confirmed, as has been previously noted. However, Dr. Ali Khani also raised the possibility and explicitly stated that it is, in fact, entirely possible for someone to obtain this information from the internet or even potentially ask others and find out. So whether Mr. Azimi got this information from the internet or from others, or whether he actually saw it himself, is a question that Mr. Ali Khani raised, and he said it might be this way as well. I do not know. Ultimately, Mr. Azimi said that he has also seen your colleagues, and we agreed that, at a mutually convenient time in the future, we would arrange for Mr. Azimi and Dr. Ali Khani to come together for a meeting in person, face-to-face, along with several of his colleagues, including specifically one of the doctors who had previously worked with him in the operating room, in order to see whether Mr. Azimi can accurately identify which of those doctors was, in fact, his colleague or not. If he can recognize his colleagues, it could prove that yes, he really did observe the operating room and that he accurately reported the objects, the surgical toolbox, the bed, and all the other details. But for Dr. Ali Khani, this simply was not sufficiently convincing or compelling. To some extent, I agree with him. Of course, I agree from his point of view. But according to the criteria I use for research and what I have examined, these are not the only factors. There are other aspects as well, and to the best of my limited ability, I can say that his experience is genuine.
When I was looking,
the doctors were wearing masks?
I actually saw the doctors, quite literally, without any gowns at all. I could only see the person's internal organs as a network of nerves and blood vessels. I mean, I saw the whole person like that. Even when I looked at myself from above, I saw myself in this way. Just a network of nerves, the entire system, even the part of my back that had been opened up during the operation where they were working and carefully placing the platinum. I could see all of that completely. I wasn't surprised, for example, about why I was lying there or why the doctors were doing those things. It all felt very normal. Really, just completely normal.
Did you even know what was going on?
Yes. I absolutely knew exactly what was happening. It was really happening to me. But deep down, I absolutely knew that wasn't truly me. That was separate from me. I was separated from it. The me was up there. I didn't consider it a part of myself at all. It was like I was truly free. It was as if from above I just saw it simply as a corpse. It was just that I could see it, that's all. I didn't have any feelings toward it.
It wasn't Behrooz on the bed. What did you feel about it during the surgery?
I didn't have any bad feelings at all. Not in the way that, for example, I would say, why is this even happening right now? Why is surgery happening? Why is this happening? I didn't feel anything at all. I just knew that from above, I was just really looking at the whole room. It was as if everything was below me. I know that everything was much lower than me. I didn't see the wall over there as being that short. I saw the height more stretched out. I mean, I saw the wall as much taller. But I could actually see the whole thing as a wall. I knew that this was a wall. It had surrounded me.
But there were no more floors?
There were no floors at all. Above me, I knew it was empty. Because it's not like you have a ceiling like you have a ceiling. And it's not like you can look up like that and realize what's going on above and then look down. There, it's like you have a view of everything. I mean, there was nothing that could be hidden from the eyes. Well, from the eyes of my soul. There. It was truly seeing. There were no eyes there. There was only seeing.
All right, so as you said, you could see inside the body. To what extent could you penetrate the body? Did this vision move inside veins or not? Did you see the body from the side, full of tissue, veins, tendons, and organs?
No. I could see right before my eyes the flow of blood, the nerves, everything completely. Their faces. I could see their faces in full, noticing every expression and subtle detail, but I could also see their bodies, observing the way they stood and moved. I could see all their neural structures completely, even inside itself. I could even see the beating of the heart. To that extent. I could see all of it completely. I had complete awareness. Even Dr. Ali Khani, and those two doctors who were actually operating on me at the time. It wasn't like I wanted to assign a color to it and say it was this color. No, not at all. It was almost colorless. I could only see the intricate, delicate network of nerves and vessels. That was all that was visible to me.
So you're saying it really wasn't surprising to you at all?
No, not at all.
As if you had seen it many times before?
Yes, absolutely, and I completely knew what was happening. I knew exactly without any doubt that the person being operated on was absolutely me. I wasn't afraid at all, not in the slightest. I didn't feel any discomfort either. I had no worries at all. I was completely at ease. I honestly didn't feel any pain either. I had nothing.
Were you aware that you had died?
I didn't know. You didn't know? No, I had no idea at all, to be honest.
What about this separation of the upper and lower Behrooz?
I had no idea about that part. I didn't know about that either. I really didn't know, because all of a sudden I just saw myself from above. It wasn't like I could say, for example, that my soul gradually left my body. No, I suddenly saw myself from above.
You were surprised?
Yes. I just saw that I existed. The operating room was there, and I was there. I knew I existed, but I didn't really feel any discomfort or even sadness. Just for a moment, suddenly, I felt as if an invisible force or presence grabbed me by the collar. It pulled me toward itself and took me away. Over there, it's not like you can say, "I'm not coming." There, you have to obey and do what you're told. It's not like here where I can say, "I'm not coming, I'll come in 5 minutes." There's none of that. Over there, what needs to be done must be done. As soon as it pulled me, I was no longer in that environment. I left that environment and fell into a slanted white tunnel. I could see the brightness of this tunnel bit by bit, little by little, bit by bit. Here, when we want to see light, we just see light. But over there, I was going up in that tunnel. I could see every bit of that bright white tunnel. I mean, when I say bit by bit, it's not really actually like the light here. Bit by bit, as I would say, I could see it, cell by cell, unfolding. I simply had the feeling that the one who was gently taking me along was always just a little bit ahead of me, quietly leading me forward. It wasn't like they were holding my hand or grabbing my collar. They were just taking me along. I was just going along with them. That cylinder actually wasn't very big. It was a cylinder that only the two of us could fit inside. Maybe if I want to exaggerate, it was a little bigger, but it really wasn't very big.
This light you mentioned, the one you could feel bit by bit, what color was it?
Inside the tunnel itself, it was bright. It was white. It was a bright white. That incredibly bright whiteness right there, it truly is impossible to even begin to imagine. No matter how much I tell you what it was, you have your own idea of what white is. But that whiteness, over there, it's something else entirely. Every bit of whiteness there, every single bit of it, each and every part is truly love.
It's love. This is most certainly the light of love.
It was love.
Its essence.
Its very essence was love. Every single particle of it. Inside the tunnel, as I say, I was, in a sense, going up with the angel of death. I looked around slowly. I was looking around. Inside the tunnel, it was very bright and pleasant, filled with a gentle, comforting light that made the space feel safe and welcoming. But outside this tunnel, it was so dark, so pitch black, so utterly black, that it felt as if every trace of light had vanished, leaving behind a darkness so deep and complete that it's impossible for you to have ever seen or imagined such total blackness. Absolute darkness. Just imagine the very dark, rich, deep, intense color black, if you will. I'm telling you, the black we see on Earth is much, much lighter. There, outside this bright tunnel, it was so dark that I was only afraid of one thing. That if I didn't follow this angel of death and ended up outside this illuminated tunnel, I would definitely fall into misguidance. In terms of time here, I don't know how long it was. All I knew was that I was moving through that tunnel, and that radiance I could see at the top of the tunnel, I knew it wasn't getting any closer. We were just moving toward it. All I knew was that around me it was extremely, extremely dark, pitch black and absolutely complete, utter darkness, and we only had this one tunnel, just this tunnel. We were also moving upward at a diagonal angle. After a while, the tunnel I had been traveling through, along with the deep darkness that had completely surrounded me, finally came to an end. Suddenly, I went into a completely different environment. In an exceptionally, extremely, very, very bright white environment indeed. It was brilliantly radiant, and its brightness was genuinely, truly white. It was truly white. It was so white and radiant that, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know how to describe its nature. It was so remarkably softly, brilliantly white, but not in a way that would hurt your eyes. Not at all like that. Think about the sun. The sun is so bright, but compared to the whiteness there, the sun has no light at all. The brightness was really incredibly soothing.
A light with magnitude and intensity. So calming.
It was very calming. Every single particle of it was truly and deeply God's divine love. I mean, there you could truly, so deeply feel God, completely. We could feel God. It was such that, well, you see, it was just like that. Now, my experience, it's not a good one for me, honestly, but I wish I could go back to that place. It was so calming, so incredibly calming. In that quiet place, I wouldn't exactly say I fell, but for a moment, I did see my own 2 feet.
For the first time?
For the first time, I saw my own feet there.
When you were in the hospital, in that room, you couldn't see your hands or feet?
I couldn't see anything at all. Even in the tunnel, I didn't see any trace or sign of my body at all. But when I got there, I realized for sure that my feet were standing there, but there was no body at all. It was just seeing. And the person who was coming with me was only with me up to that place. After that part, he wasn't with me anymore.
And were your feet resting on some kind of solid surface at that particular moment, or?
No, they were just lying there. Imagine 2 completely paralyzed legs just lying there on the ground. My foot was like this. I knew that my legs were paralyzed. I could completely feel that there, right in that moment, these are my own legs, and they have no movement. I knew this. There, I'm telling you, you know everything. I mean, everything. It's not like someone has to tell you or you have to ask anyone. You know everything, completely. I knew these were my own legs and that they were paralyzed. I knew this. That's all I'm saying. Suddenly, I carefully observed the entire environment. I looked all around me slowly and carefully to see where I actually was. I wanted to see where this light was really coming from. What is this place? This place that I've just stepped into? There was someone, let's say, for lack of a better word, behind me, even though there really isn't a behind there. There you can actually see absolutely everything, everywhere, all at once. It's not like here, where I could say I can't see behind me. But over there, truly, everything is visible. I just knew that someone was standing next to me. And this was, as far as I know, according to the information that had been given to me. It was someone who had only come to defend me. That's when I fully and truly realized the reckoning had begun.
Was that the moment when you truly realized where you actually were at that moment?
That's when I finally understood where I was. Imagine a table right in front of you. Picture that table, which is shaped like the distinctive capital English letter L. 4 people were sitting on one side, and another person was sitting alone at the end, at the bottom part of the L. I just felt that he's coming toward me. All I realized was that he was simply coming toward me.
He left the table and came toward you.
I didn't see those people. I don't know what they looked like. I didn't see them at all.
But you felt their presence.
Their presence, yes. But I knew there were 4 of them. But I saw that last person, the 5th one, coming toward me. It was very terrifying. It was very terrifying. It was very terrifying. Really terrifying. Really scary. Really scary. Very... It's so terrifying. The face, That's what I call it. It had the face of a wolf. It had the face of a wolf. But the wolf we have on Earth is very beautiful. The wolf on the Earth is very beautiful. Our own wolf on Earth is very beautiful. That wolf was so terrifying. It was so terrifying that no matter how much I describe it to you, you would imagine it. It's really terrifying. That wolf was the result of my actions.
You mean that strange creature, it was actually created as a result of your own actions and deeds?
Yeah.
It was created from your actions. So before you actually did those particular deeds, it didn't exist at that specific moment in time. Is that right?
Yes. It was absolutely very terrifying. Very. To this very day, I have truly never seen anything anywhere in this entire world that is more deeply terrifying or more unsettling than that particular creature, not even once.
Have you seen horror movies?
They're not scary at all. They're really not scary at all. What I saw that night was truly beyond any imaginable, unspeakable horror. It was so incredibly, absolutely terrifying. It was so terrifying that I suddenly saw my hair turn white, growing from the bottom up. But it turned white. From fear.
So from the intensity of the fear, your hair both grew and turned white?
Yeah, my hair and beard turned white. Because of what? The fear that happened to me there, and reliving that fear that had been created for me after that event happened. The fear that came over me there. And then I came back to this world. Over these 4 years, I kept quietly and constantly reflecting on everything. I went over my actions, my mistakes, my sins, every single one of them, and carefully compared them to the punishment that's supposed to exist in the afterlife. That is, if there really is such a thing at all. When I put these things side by side, I see that they just don't add up. No equation can reconcile these things, and this terror truly ages a person. We have this in Surah Muzammil, as mentioned, in verse 17. God speaks to the disbelievers there. He says, how do you not fear the day when
children become old, their hair becomes gray?
Children become old.
It both grew steadily and gradually turned white, and I saw its bright whiteness slowly coming downwards. I was just watching the wolf, unable to move or even look away. I couldn't say anything. Deep down, I knew it was over for me. It was a wolf that... It had terrifying black fur. It had very frightening teeth. Very terrifying. I looked at it from top to bottom. I just stared at it. When I looked closely at its lower leg, I saw, to my surprise, a very long and unusually shaped hoof. It was so long, even just a few minutes earlier I hadn't even thought about the fact that wolves don't have hooves. But I saw a hoof. Its whole body was covered in drooping black fur. It was terrifying. It was really terrifying. It only really asked me one question. One question. My wife's name is Farida. It pointed at me, exactly like this. I still remember it brought its hand in front of me and said, "Why were you so mean to Fariba? That's all." Why were you so mean to Fariba?
Be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid of the one who stayed silent when you broke their heart. Be afraid of the one who stayed silent when you broke their heart, and she, instead of blaming you, told it all to God. And God listened well and remembers well. He heard from the one whose heart you broke. And the day will come when God will shout all those words back at you. And at that very moment, you simply won't be able to answer at all. And you will understand that day without a doubt.
Why were you so harsh with Fariba?
Did I say it this calmly?
With the same calmness? I was truly dying of fear. I was absolutely terrified. I was just so terrified.
Because their look was threatening, their movements were threatening.
I was just frightened by their presence there. Its presence was truly terrifying. Honestly, I should probably just call it truly horrifying. I mean, what else really should I even call it if not that? My wife knows. Since that day I haven't looked at the sky.
You haven't done what?
I don't look at the sky.
Why?
I'm afraid I'll see it again.
You haven't looked at the sky for 5 years.
I have not looked. I do not look at all.
5 years. 5 years. I thought perhaps maybe you had an injury in your neck or some kind of pain or discomfort there, and that's why you didn't want to look up.
No.
Even when our drone was flying and I asked you to look at the camera, you wouldn't look, and I didn't know why. I just assumed you might have a problem with your neck vertebrae. I didn't insist any further and gently said to myself not to insist further for not making you ashamed. Maybe you didn't want to say anything. Now I understand. Because you haven't looked at the sky for 5 years.
I don't... Even though I asked my wife for forgiveness, I still don't look up.
In case I see that again.
Lest I see that.
You can't. It was up there. Was it up there?
It was up above. You have no idea how terrifying it was. No matter how much I try to describe it to you, to be honest, it's absolutely impossible. You couldn't even grasp 1,000th, 1,000,000th of what it looked like, what its face was like. Every moment I ask my wife for forgiveness, but still, I don't look. Still, I don't look. It was really terrifying. Really. That creature, that strange creature, my own deed.
It hadn't been created.
It was my own deed.
It was your deed?
It was my own deed.
You have created it.
It was my own doing. It was my own mistake. I made mistakes. They say don't confess, but I confess I made mistakes. They say maybe some people will take it the wrong way. I don't care at all. It really doesn't matter to me at all. Not at all. Absolutely not. The only thing that really matters to me, honestly, is that God gave me a chance. God gave me a chance. When I saw that creature, that terrifying thing, that's what I call it. Terrifying, terrifying, terrifying. You said I should give it other names, but no matter what name I choose or how many times I try to rename it, I still can't make it any less terrifying. The feeling just doesn't change. It was really scary. Really. All I know is...
You can't even find the correct words.
Even the terrifying name we give it itself. It's not enough. It's really not enough. The wolves we see here on Earth, on this very planet of ours, they're very beautiful. All of God's creatures are beautiful. There isn't a single creature that's ugly or scary. There just isn't.
You say this after your experience?
Yes, exactly.
What was your opinion on wolves before your experience?
They were scary. I mean, wolves with those teeth and all that, of course anyone would be afraid of. I wanted to defend myself. But over there, it is not like you can defend yourself. Any kind of self-defense exists here on Earth. Hope no one saves their self-defense for the next world. Seriously, don't save it. Over there, there's no such thing as defending yourself. Any defending you need to do it right here. If you fall short here, do something so the other person forgives you. In the next world, there's simply no place for complaints, grievances, or any of those things at all. Over there, it's only a place for reckoning. Whatever you did, they just bring it right before your eyes. As soon as I wanted to make a move or say something, that being showed me all the moments from when I married my wife until the time I died, and even after that, right before my eyes in a fraction of a second, and then showed me what happened after my death. Everything I had done, he showed me absolutely every single thing in complete detail. It was clear that it was all meticulously recorded without missing anything. It was quite evident that nothing at all had been added or omitted in any way. He showed me step by step until I died, and even after that moment had passed. I just want to say that after seeing the whole thing completely, I started thinking about it, because I saw that my wife and son were having a hard time, and I decided to go back and make it up to them.
That they were having a hard time.
And to make it up to them.
To provide them peace so things could be made right.
I just started screaming and shouting, making a lot of noise in my mind, but not with my physical mouth or physical sounds. Not like I always say, well, you know, I mean...
It wasn't like sound.
No, it wasn't a vocal sound. I was wailing and lamenting. I was begging just to be allowed to return. Just to return. Just not to be there. Because I knew that if I stayed, honestly, it would be over for me. I mean, after that. After seeing that terrifying wolf, I knew it was the end for me. All I could think about was to wail, lament, and beg. My begging, my pleading, it wasn't in a low voice. My voice had gotten so loud. I know how much I was shouting, how much I was screaming. That's something I always talk about. I say, if that pleading and wailing, if that sound were to reach the ears of people on earth, then truly everyone would go deaf. That's how I was wailing so much and lamenting. Everyone would go deaf. I was screaming and shouting a lot. All I knew was that I had to go back with so much wailing and lamenting, so much shouting and pleading, but even then, that terrifying being didn't even frown, not a trace of mercy or compassion at all. His face didn't change in the slightest. He stayed exactly the same. It was as if those tremendous screams had absolutely no effect. His face didn't even change. Because I knew he should only do what God commanded him to do, and absolutely nothing more. I knew this. He was only supposed to do exactly what he had to do, nothing more. But if we were here and someone started wailing and lamenting, our hearts would soften and we'd say, it's okay. Even our faces would change, but his face never changed at all.
Let me remind you, this being was not an agent that existed before, for example, before your birth or before your marriage. He was a creature that was gradually formed by your own actions. In other words, his body, his very existence, was created from your deeds. I am stating this accurately. The cells and the very substance of his being, if we can use the terms cells and substance, all of these, every single part of his existence, was made from your actions.
I created him myself through my own actions. Through my own wrong actions, I created him myself.
So he was standing there in a commanding manner. Judgmental and utterly calm, he stood there for a long silent moment and quietly observed you.
He was only looking at me. As I said earlier, I came there suddenly from that tunnel of light. And then again, I suddenly left that environment into another place as well. That whole environment suddenly disappeared all of a sudden. None of those beings were with me, except for that wolf I had created myself from my own actions. No one else was there? Absolutely no one. It was just the two of us, face to face. There was nothing else around us, but we were in the same bright white environment. He raised his hand like this. I can still very clearly remember the moment when he looked at me and said, "I have been given permission. I was allowed to tell you that you can go back. But on one condition. Only on the condition, and only if you truly say this world exists. There is a reckoning. Accountability exists. Me who said, who has ever seen reckoning? Who saw accountability? It was shown to me. I showed it myself. There was reckoning. There was accountability. And it was really harsh. It was just really harsh. That's all he told me. He said, you can return only on the condition that you tell everyone you meet. For a long time, I didn't say anything. It's not that I had forgotten, not at all. But there was something inside me saying, well, even if you say it, who's going to believe you? But after your program, I convinced myself a little to speak up. They set this condition for me, return only on this condition, and honestly, I don't care at all what others think about me. Let them say I was ill-tempered with my wife, it doesn't matter at all. Indeed, I was rude. The truth is, I was really genuinely ill-tempered back then, and my wife never once told anyone about it. Not a single person, not even her closest friends or family. She always hid it, always kept it hidden. It was recently that I told my parents about it. My parents were surprised. They said, well, if you were like this, why didn't your wife tell us? Why didn't she say anything to us? She didn't even tell her own parents. She would just say, I leave it to God. She would say, I only have God. She would say, I leave it to God. And after that, I didn't realize anything else. The only thing I absolutely realized was that I was, in fact, no longer in that particular environment. Where am I? The next thing I realized was that in the recovery room of the hospital, they were just repeatedly slapping my face. Very, very hard slaps. So hard that all I could sense was my own body shaking. I didn't feel any pain at all. But when I regained consciousness, that was when I felt the very intense pain I told you about earlier. That's when I understood what that pain was. That pain was when my soul collided with my body. It had entered my body. That pain, that was the soul, and to anyone who hears what I said and wants to criticize me, I just want to say one thing. I say, if you have a good relationship with your spouse, thank God each and every day. Thank God at least you don't have to see what I saw with my own eyes. Thank God I truly realized and understood my own mistake, and I am grateful for that. I admit I was the one who was wrong, yes. But if someone criticizes me, pointing out my mistakes, and they themselves actually have the very same flaw or weakness, I just hope that my experience might have a positive effect on them as well. They really shouldn't criticize me, because what I saw and experienced, that person will also eventually see and experience for themselves. So it's much better, in fact, for that person to take a moment to reconsider and reflect on their own behavior and actions as well before passing judgment on others.
Mr. Azimi, are you scared of death?
Death, if a person's deeds and actions throughout their life are truly good and kind, then death itself is not ugly in any way. In fact, it is not frightening or scary at all. There is nothing to fear about it.
If one's deeds aren't bad, then they're made of that same light.
Yes, it's all the same.
What was each particle?
Every single bit of it was absolutely, truly and completely God's love and mercy. I was there because my own actions and personal choices had caused me to no longer be able to reach God. Because I felt this. Then, when I saw that frightening being, I realized that God's love was no longer present. My own actions ruined it there.
That harshness, wasn't from God.
Not at all. Never.
It was from yourself.
It was from myself. I'm certain. I'm really sure that terrifying being was also an agent. sent by God to purify me so that I could reach God Himself afterwards. I'm pretty sure about this.
What does death mean to you now? Before that experience, it had a certain meaning. What about after that? What is death?
Death is simply just a step up, a transition to another stage of existence. That's all there is to it, really. It's not about trying to make death seem scary. It's really not like that at all. I really, really want to do things so that my deeds in this world turn as white as they are over there, to become completely pure.
So how would you personally define your current life?
This current life, right here and now, honestly, it's an opportunity. That's it, I suppose. Truly, it's an opportunity.
For what?
For truly seeing God present and active in all things.
Over here.
Over here, it's truly an absolutely remarkable opportunity.
You don't mean seeing with your eyes, right?
No, to feel there everything. Everything is God. Everything is the beauty of God. It's God's love. It's not like that over there. You know, I had heard people say, when you go there, you'll get this or that. It's not like that at all. There, reaching God is what matters. Truly, God is beautiful as long as our actions don't ruin it, as long as our deeds don't spoil it. That's it. It's so beautiful. Really, it's pure love.
If you wanted to sum up everything you gained from that experience into a single, concise piece of advice, and then give this essence, this extract as a meaningful present, a gift to your child, what would it be? As a keepsake, what would you say?
Oh. Actually, I was just discussing this with my wife. I told my wife, I said, you know, honestly, if my son ever gets married, when it's time for him to get married, the first thing I'll tell him, just like I tell many single people, first I ask a question, including my own son. Those who truly intend to get married, if you can, if you feel yourself capable of, after marriage, to never call your wife meaner than call her a flower. So get married. Don't say anything less kind than a flower. Get married. But if you don't really see that in yourself, if you say my idea of manhood is this or that, a man should be like this, he should have authority. No, that's not what it's about. I've personally experienced this myself. If you find that you simply cannot handle the responsibilities, even if you are a billionaire, then please don't get married. Even if you're a billionaire, don't get married. It's not about wealth. It's not about status or position. It's only and only about your wife being satisfied with you. If you can keep her happy, then get married. Otherwise, for your own good, either fix yourself or simply don't get married. Well, I always tell this to all single people out there, including my own son. Even if we've made a mistake, we should work to correct it as soon as possible. Don't say, I made this mistake, so that's it. No. At the very least, try to fix that mistake and win that person's satisfaction. Because as long as we're in this world, we can still earn our partner's satisfaction. But once we're gone, there's no more opportunity for that, because we leave with our actions.
So over these 5 years, it's been the same for you. You've made mistakes unintentionally, but you are trying.
Yes, I've made mistakes, but I would really like not to do that, as I always try not to, as much as I possibly can. I have tried very, very hard every single time. I've really tried, and God willing, I won't make any mistakes, especially when it concerns my wife.
If there is anything else at all that you would like to say, or if there is something important that you feel you haven't yet had the opportunity to mention, please, by all means, go ahead and share it now.
I want people to benefit from my experience. I just really don't want to be judged. That's all. I don't want to be judged. Thank you.